Did you know that your brain, this incredible command center, weighs only about 1.4 kilograms? Yet it controls absolutely everything you do. Your thoughts, your emotions, your heartbeat, every single movement. And because it's so vital, your body has built an incredibly sophisticated defense system to protect it. It's like a fortress, designed to keep this precious organ safe from harm. Today, we're going on a journey deep inside your head to explore the brain's mighty fortress, the skull, the meninges, and the cerebrospinal fluid. These three protective layers are the unsung heroes that guard your mind every single second of every day. Let's start with the first and most obvious line of defense, the skull. Think of it as nature's very own helmet. But here's something cool. The skull isn't just one solid bone. In an adult, it's actually made up of 22 different bones, all fused together by immovable joints called sutures. This clever design makes the skull incredibly strong and also helps it disperse the force from an impact, preventing it from concentrating in one spot. At the base of the skull, there's a large opening called the foramen magnum. This is a critical junction where the brainstem connects to the spinal cord, forming the main communication highway between your brain and the rest of your body. But the skull alone isn't enough protection. Imagine if your brain was just floating freely inside that bony box. Even a sharp turn of your head could cause it to slam against the hard interior. That would be disastrous. So, nature added more layers of protection inside. Beneath the skull, surrounding both the brain and the spinal cord, are three protective membranes known as the meninges. Think of them as biological shields. The outermost layer is called the dura mater, which literally means tough mother in Latin. And it lives up to its name. It's thick, durable, and clings tightly to the inside of the skull, acting like a seatbelt to keep the brain securely in place. The dura mater also forms special partitions within the skull. For example, the falx cerebri runs down the middle, separating the two hemispheres of your brain, while the tentorium cerebelli separates the upper part of the brain, the cerebrum, from the cerebellum below. The second layer is the arachnoid mater, which means spider-like membrane. It's much thinner and more delicate, resembling a fine, intricate web that loosely envelops the brain. Between this layer and the next is a crucial area called the subarachnoid space. This space is filled with a special fluid that we'll talk more about in a moment. Finally, we have the third and innermost layer, the pia mater, or gentle mother. This is the thinnest layer of all, and it clings tightly to every single groove and fold of the brain's surface, like a second skin. The pia mater is rich with tiny blood vessels that are essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients directly to the brain tissue. Together, these three mothers, the tough, the spidery, and the gentle, form a multi-layered shield for our brain. Now, when these protective layers are damaged, the consequences can be incredibly severe. Let's talk about what happens when things go wrong. An epidural hematoma, for example, occurs when an artery between the skull and the dura mater ruptures, usually from a strong blow to the head. Blood begins to accumulate very rapidly in that space, putting immense pressure on the brain. This can cause intense headaches, confusion, and can even lead to a coma if not treated immediately. Another serious injury is a subdural hematoma. This happens when veins between the dura and the arachnoid mater tear. This type of injury is more common in the elderly because our brains shrink slightly with age, stretching and weakening these veins. Unlike an epidural bleed, the blood here leaks much more slowly. As a result, symptoms might not appear for days or even weeks after the initial injury. Both of these conditions are medical emergencies and often require surgery to drain the blood and relieve the life-threatening pressure on the brain. But it's not just physical injuries that threaten the meninges. One of the most dangerous conditions is meningitis, which is when the meninges become inflamed, usually due to an infection. When bacteria or viruses manage to invade these membranes surrounding the brain, it can be devastating. Bacterial meningitis, in particular, can be life-threatening. The symptoms often come on suddenly and include a high fever, a severe headache, a stiff neck, vomiting, and altered consciousness. Before the invention of antibiotics, this disease was almost always fatal. Today, thanks to vaccines and early antibiotic treatment, the death rate has dropped significantly, but it remains a serious medical emergency that requires immediate attention. Now let's go back to that space between the arachnoid and pia mater. It's filled with a remarkable clear liquid called cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. This fluid acts like the brain's personal waterbed, providing cushioning and support. It's constantly produced by a special tissue called the choroid plexus, which is located inside hollow cavities within the brain known as ventricles. The CSF has three main jobs, and they're all critical. First, it reduces the brain's effective weight. Your brain is a heavy organ, but because it's floating in CSF, its effective weight is reduced from about 400 grams to just 50 grams. This buoyancy prevents the brain's own weight from crushing the nerve connections and blood vessels at its base. Second, the CSF acts as a shock absorber. When you move your head suddenly or suffer a minor bump, the fluid cushions the brain, protecting it from slamming against the inside of the skull. And third, it plays a vital role in transport. CSF circulates around the brain and spinal cord, delivering essential nutrients and, just as importantly, carrying away waste products. Thanks to this amazing fluid, your brain is constantly bathed in a clean, stable, and safe environment, allowing it to function at its best. So let's recap the incredible defense system protecting your brain. We have the skull, the strong outer armor, then the three meninges, the dura, arachnoid, and pia mater, acting as intricate biological shields. And finally, the cerebrospinal fluid, the gentle sea that keeps your brain buoyant and safe. Each of these components works in perfect harmony to protect our most important organ. So, please, take care of your brain. Wear a helmet when you're cycling or skating, get enough sleep, eat well, and keep your mind active and at ease. Because a healthy brain is the foundation for everything you think, feel, and do. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the body's fortress. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next episode of our series, Know Your Body, Take Charge of Your Health.